great. I think that would be good too, says Cheryl.
Yeah, she said, okay, yeah.
Okay. Okay. Hi, this is Davey. We're going to go ahead and start the City Commission on Disabilities. It is April 15th at 5:43. And we are trying this new. This is a new thing for us for sure, having doing this over the internet. And we all have varying levels of ability with this kind of thing, but so far so good, other than a few things, which is why we're starting a little late. So I wanted to start off by first just kind of going around and saying how we're doing personally, and if there's any, check in about physical distancing in general, and if how people are doing right now, because it's such a big change. I can kind of start by saying, I work for the Athens County Board of Developmental Disabilities as an SSA, and I've been really busy just kind of supporting the individuals served. It's probably been the busiest I've ever been in this job. And yeah, it's been a really interesting time.
It's JW. I finally
I see
figured it out.
Right.
Hey, JW, we can hear you.
Sorry about that. Sorry.
So we can go ahead. What we're doing right now, JW, is just introductions. So again, my name's Davey McNally, and I'm the chair of the commission. And then we're just going to go around and just talk about how we're doing right now in this strange and interesting time. And we can just kind of go based on, I can just kind of call people's names and just kind of check in with them. How are you doing, Diane?
I'm doing mixed. Overall, I think it's pretty good, but there are definitely days when I watch too much news or listen to too much news or read too much news that just makes me crazy. So I try not to do that too often. But I've been working from home. I work at the university, and luckily we're all working from home, so that hasn't been too bad.
How are you doing, Carolyn? You just had a major life event.
I did. Don't I always usually? But like I said, it's part of my pages of life, another page to my book. I'm doing fine. The Laurels actually went on lockdown 2 weeks before everything else. So we've been very safe, real safe here, and they've been real cautious with everything. Only thing, of course, nobody can come, nobody can go. And the biggest thing for me that when they told me I could be discharged on Wednesday, because I had not just been to the appointment, when I went to the appointment, she sent me right over to the hospital. It was like a discharge, so I had to get the COVID test, as you saw, to get back in here. So it was quite an interesting couple of days. But other than that, I'm doing fine. I was asked to teach an online course at hockey. So I've been doing that. It's keeping me busy. And first time teaching online is quite an experience, but I'm getting there.
Great. Thank you, Carolyn. Thank you, Dr. Lewis. And again, speedy recovery to you on the leg.
Thank you.
How are you, Aaron? If I could just remind everyone just to introduce themselves and what kind of role they serve on the commission too.
Arian Smedley. I am the city council appointed person. I serve as the city council Ward 1 rep, so that's the west side of Athens. I also work with the county board with Davey, working from home as well at this point, but I just had my baby, so I would be home anyway. I am working part-time in between naps and feedings and dirty diapers. So staying pretty busy, but all in all, just doing fine. Just trying to adjust to all the changes, and all of this technology is appreciated because it allows us to continue working and doing what we can. And although it does pose its own challenges, it's overall appreciated.
Okay, yeah,
I'll go back on mute in case the baby cries.
Okay. Thank you, and yeah, it's got to be like just such a great experience, but such a surreal experience too, having a baby during this time. And yeah, I really appreciate you being able to still join into the meeting and everything. I didn't really expect you after. I think it's just been a couple weeks, right?
Yeah, she was born the 29th, so she's just 2.5 weeks old.
She's really special. 29th, every 4-year birthday. That's pretty cool. Oh, and actually of March. Okay, I was getting
Yeah.
confused. I was going to put you in February. I lose track of time now.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Me too. Please check my days.
Okay. How are you doing now? Are you ready to?
I'm doing pretty. Things are pretty slow right now, right or dime. Vice Chair.
Okay. Thank you. Now, let's go ahead and go over to JW. How have you been doing with all this, JW?
Hey, I'm doing great. I'm not a fan of online teaching, but it is what it is. But I'm great. Everything is good. I think I serve on the education something. I'm brand new. This is my second meeting, so I'm still figuring my way in the commission. But everything is doing all right.
Yeah, we appreciate your enthusiasm and all the knowledge that you're bringing, JW. It's not the ideal time to onboard people right now and get things rolling, but really appreciate you being involved and doing what you can. Oh, and there's Samara too.
I think I got on.
Great.
Yeah, there we go. That's good.
Yeah.
Good.
I missed it.
Yeah, we're just kind of introducing right now, Samara, and we're just kind of saying how we're doing during this time, how things are going. So let's swing over to Barry.
I'm doing kind of okay, but the isolation begins to get to me. I am going for walks up the bike path, and living alone, this, it's a little bit harder. And when it gets harder, I seem to be getting more vertigo attacks. So I think I emailed you that it's always iffy how I'm going to be. Right now, I'm okay.
One thing I want to encourage everyone to do is just to kind of provide that mutual aid to each other. So if people need stuff, or if you know of people who need things, please just let someone know, and we can help coordinate with the right people. So that's always something we can do. How are you doing, Samara?
I am doing very well. I am currently working from home. My hours, I've learned that as far as working from home, I tend to feel like an IT specialist at times with trying to upload various apps, like I'm learning how to do Zoom today. But I've been doing very well, and I'm learning how to balance out my time at home.
Okay, thank you, Samara. And it seems like we're gonna lose Cheryl because it's just still frozen over there. I can see Paige, but I just don't. I think the internet connection for Cheryl might not be good enough to see. So we'll try and get something figured out for next time. She's thinking about changing internet providers. It's hard and all the things, and have a good night. Okay. So we're gonna kind of move through the agenda. So has everyone had a chance to review February's minutes? Or did I miss anyone? No, I don't think so. Okay. Could you just give like a hand raise if you've had a chance to review February's minutes? Okay, any requests for modifications or changes to that? Okay, do we have a motion to approve February's minutes?
So moved.
I hear JW is so moved. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
All right. Is a second. All in favor?
Hi.
Bye.
Aye. All right. Motion passes.
I just seconded besides me. Someone else did.
Arian did.
Okay, thanks.
I heard Arian's voice. Carolyn, do you have anything to add for the treasurer's report for
I have
this
a
month?
motion that I would like to make.
Sure.
We have not received any requests, and it's getting later in the year, and we have $1,000. I would like to make a motion that the Education Outreach Committee get 800 of that for the Athena Award, and the 200 would be left for any miscellaneous, oh gosh, I'm sorry, any miscellaneous, anything that might occur for another committee or whatever.
I'll second the motion, but I want to talk about it a minute.
Yeah, do we have any discussion? I think, Carolyn, could you just kind of walk us through, and maybe you and Barry could just walk us through about how we typically have used the money and what the Athena Award is about for people who maybe don't know?
The major part of the money is gone for food, which it won't, hopefully it won't be that way this year. We've talked in our Education and Outreach Committee about some fundraising ideas if we ever get out of this virus situation. But that's the main thing. And we have used money for printing at Minuteman Press. They've been very, very good about getting things done very well and turned around. And then there have been some, I've donated and Barry's donated. So that's how we've kind of managed it through over the past couple of years.
This is JW. I don't know what the typical budget issues are, but would $200 be sufficient for everything else this year if we don't do any fundraising?
We typically haven't had any other.
Okay.
I know last year we didn't have any other requests.
Okay, I just wanted to know.
Yes, unless we
Yeah,
haven't had any others.
Yeah, I can say generally the rest of the commission work doesn't cost a lot of money since we spent some money on doing some ADA trainings a few years back. We haven't had a lot of costs. And the other major cost is the challenge by choice that we used to do. And since we're not doing that, we just kind of had the $1,000. So I feel completely fine appropriating the $800 for the Athena Award event, which typically happens in November, correct?
Yeah,
It's
I have a
November.
question too.
Right.
Well, we're going to have to plan for the next Athena Award. Can money be held over from one year to another?
I don't know. I can check on that. Maybe that's something Noah might know. But for JW's information, the budget used to be $3,000 until the city cut everyone's budget. So that's where we are.
I see.
So we had to really kind of
Right.
be frugal as much as
Right.
we could. But I think fundraising would help a lot.
To be continued when we see each other in person.
What were the actual costs? Do you have an idea of what the actual costs were for the event?
If I recall, the food was 500, 5 or 6. Does that sound right, Barry?
I thought it was altogether close to 800.
So the whole thing was 800 to do
Yeah, it
last
was
year.
about 800 last year.
We had this catered in, was it? Who did this? Who did the
Yeah.
food? Okay.
What was it? What was the name of the caterer, Barry? I can't remember.
Like
Sweet Arts.
Sweet Arts.
Sweet Arts.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
And the last year, what did we do?
We had a lot of those awards created and everything, which cost money as well.
Yeah, there was a lot this year.
Carry over.
Yeah, last year we had what's the gentleman who catered? The year before last year, rather.
Oh, Purple Chopsticks the year before.
Purple Chopsticks 2 years ago. Right.
Noah had a comment. What did you say, Noah?
Sorry, Noah.
It can't carry over.
It cannot? Oh,
Okay.
But yeah, I think $800 is fine. I think I'm happy to go ahead and allocate that so that you can kind of know what the budget is. And I think it may, it's only April, so I don't think it's time to start getting on people's schedules and such. I think that would be better done in early summer.
So is the budget from January to December or from July to June?
January
June.
to December.
So it would fall under the November event. We would spend the money this
Right,
year.
right.
Well, I'm in favor of it given what I've heard here, but I really want to do some fundraising to something this year. So I'll keep thinking about that.
Yeah, that sounds great. I think we could always supplement that. And if we don't, if for whatever reason we don't spend it, it's great to be able to put that back in the city's budget, if we don't have anything that we need to spend it on. Can I go ahead and so we have a motion. Do we have a second for the motion?
I think JW did.
Yes, I seconded it so we
Yes,
could talk
JW.
about it. Yeah.
Okay, great. All in favor, if we could raise our hands and say aye.
Aye.
Hi.
Aye.
Any nays? Any abstentions? Okay, motion passed. Motion carries.
Thank you.
So the next thing that I wanted to talk about is on new business is community needs and possible ways to address. One thing that our executive committee and the accessibility committee has talked about is to focus a little bit more on our social media presence so that we can share local information and to help others kind of know what's happening. And I think the communication committee is going to start working on some of that. But I think we have some representation for the Athens County Board, senior population. And so I guess I wanted to start off by, Carolyn, you serve on the board for the, it's slipping my mind right now. What's the name of the
United, I'm sorry, I didn't hear what you said.
United Citizens.
Hold on just a minute. I'm trying to get Rose on.
Well, let's start over with Erin. Would you mind talking a little bit about what the Athens County Board has done in order to serve the individuals that we serve?
Okay. Well, what I needed was
You want me to summarize what we've done? What exactly? I'm sorry.
Yeah, just some of the steps that the Athens County Board has taken to serve individuals. So one thing that we did do is the superintendent closed all of our physical locations. All the support staff are working remotely, so we don't, spread virus and germs from one place to the other. We're also trying to be really proactive to provide PPE, personal protective equipment, to all staff who are needing it, who work in the homes. If someone might, potentially have it, then we help the staff do like a self-quarantine and yeah, that kind of thing.
Yeah, well, we're doing that, and we've identified those areas where people need to be in the building. So those are sort of essential duties. We continued the food delivery program. We launched the food delivery program for the first time ever because of this. So that's for our school age population, although it is open to any adults who need that as well, where they get breakfast and lunch delivered every day of the week. We've had to, we've had to reconsider our plans for the summer. We do have a summer camp as well. And so we're, I believe Kevin's already announced that that's been canceled at this point. But we're trying to come up with an alternative plan that would likely involve a lot of virtual meetings again to sort of salvage what we were going to do for the summer, but just move it online. But I mean, that's in a nutshell. Just a lot of things have been moved remotely for us, like it has for a lot of people. But all of our staff are still busy serving the people, meeting their needs.
Yeah, and all the providers as well are considered essential personnel. So they all are still going into homes and providing those services. I know a lot of people were worried about that, um, but everyone's been like assured that those needed services will continue. Um, uh, Carolyn, do you want to give us an update on United Seniors and any like possible needs or help that we could provide? On Carolyn, I think you're on mute still.
Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah, we will be meeting virtually next week, so nothing really has happened. I know we're working on an assessment, trying to get accreditation, so that's one thing. But other than that, I'll know more next week what's happening.
Okay. And I think we're going to work with Rose and people on the communications committee to really start trying to put forth some information, share information from other sources. So, you know, from the county board, from United Seniors, from the city county health department, to really try and help push forward like good and clear information to people. Any other discussion on that? Any updates about OU and any possible needs there, Diane?
Most of our office has been working on helping students do classes online, so helping them get their accommodations. And then I work with employees who need accommodations either at home or online so we're working with individuals as they need it. I think what we're finding a little bit is that depending on your disability, life may be easier or harder. So those with physical challenges had a hard time getting to classes easily when they were on campus, but it's not as hard for them when they're doing virtual classes. But others who have a hard time with like migraines or there are other disabilities where being online is really difficult, that they're having a different kind of challenge. So it sort of, to me, just talks about how a different environment shows how different people are impacted based on their disabilities. So this is bringing out other kinds of issues that people have.
Yeah,
You know, it's interesting, Diane. I think that will be some future research for a lot of people who deal with people who are differently able. That would be a fascinating initial article coming out of this, how this so-called new normal is both a plus and a minus for that population.
Great.
Yeah, I think like people have probably seen a lot of like memes and various information about how, you know, people with disabilities often will ask for accommodations, like, you know, anything from like working from home or various hours or whatever it is. And now it's kind of being encouraged by a lot of larger corporations, and how that's kind of made things more accessible for some people, and how, you know, how can we then like put that into the future so that we continue to increase accessibility and open up more space for more people.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I think it also brought people with immunosuppressed systems a little bit to the forefront too, that I don't know that people always think about, because usually they have an impact that isn't as visible. So I think one of the discussions that was going on with the student accessibility side is how many more students they anticipated would be asking for singles next year. Or how people are going to be asking for different accommodations around trying to keep themselves safe. So I think it'll make some other kinds of shifts too. But JW, we should do an article together.
Hey, I agree. No, I agree.
No,
I agree. We should talk about it. Absolutely.
You beat me to the punch. I was going to ask JW the same thing.
Well, maybe the three of us.
Yeah, no, the more the merrier. I don't think we're the only ones talking about it. It'll be great.
I don't think so either. All right, I'm on it with you.
I am too.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think that's kind of like some of the information that I think we could kind of put forward. So I think that sounds great. It would be great if the three of you and whoever else wanted to join could do that.
Yeah.
Samara, how are things going with you and your job right now? What kind of needs have you noticed?
Um, I've actually noticed a large array of needs that Hopewell Health Centers is experiencing at this time. One of the things that we are running into is a lot of our families are impoverished. So they have been hit rather hard with the economical situation at this time during COVID-19. Some of my clients' parents have been laid off, including grandparents who have been laid off. So there's no source of income coming in at this time. They're having a lot of difficulty just operating the website for unemployment. So it really is a challenge. Our phones are ringing off the hook as far as the hotline is concerned. At Hopewell Health Centers, there seems to be a lot more. One of my clients' parents' brother just committed suicide. That was 2 weeks ago. There was another a young child who just passed away. So there's a lot happening at this time. So we're trying to be more mindful. We're trying to give more information, pertinent information containing to mental health, wellness, and we're trying to boost the morale. So this morning, I helped Nelsonville York Elementary just deliver lunches to the kids. So when they saw my face, they were just, I mean, it really makes them happy. Kids really are not understanding what's going on, especially children with disabilities who are impulsive and suffering from these kind of ADHD mental illnesses. They are having a hard time just understanding why they have to stay in the house all day. So that's just one of the challenges we're facing.
Yeah, thanks for that update. I think as we see different things happening, especially in regards to some of these things, sharing information and access is important, and also just that complete loss of livelihood is really affecting so many people, like losing jobs that are often minimum wage or near to that. I think that probably increases the risk of depression, anxieties, suicidal ideation. So it's so important to be trauma informed right now and working with people. Like, I always start off every phone call right now or every video call with it's hard right now. I just want to acknowledge how hard it is, and what can we do to help make this easier, or to just acknowledge that it's not easy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and I encourage everyone just to use like the resources that we have in this video conference to kind of touch base with each other and support each other as much as possible. So next on the agenda, oh, go ahead. Does anyone else have anything?
Yeah, I was just going to say, I've been seeing articles that the Voinovich Center is really trying to understand what funds are available to small businesses and other entities. So Samara, you might want to, I can send you an article, but there might be people that know about resources that are available for people but the government stuff is so hard to weed through. So I can send you a link to an article that just names some people in it, if you think that would help. Okay.
Yeah, that would be great. Thank you. I am sure we could benefit from any resources at this time that we are not already familiar with. So that would be great. Thank you.
Okay.
And of course, I was not able, so moving on to the secretary position, I was not able to be at the last meeting because I was at the OSILC meeting, but I saw in the minutes that Diane was nominated and accepted a nomination for the secretary position for the executive committee. And I would like to see if we have a motion to go ahead and appoint her as secretary for the commission. And I see Noah. Noah's making a motion.
I'm making a motion.
And Samora is seconding the motion. All in favor, say aye and raise their hands.
Aye.
All right.
All right.
La, 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 la. Thanks.
That's unanimous. We don't.
Can I make a request along those lines, Madam Secretary? In addition to sending the minutes out as an attachment, if whenever feasible, could you cut and paste them into the email as well?
Okay. Well, usually, actually, I send them to Davey, and Davey sends them out with all of the meeting stuff. I wonder if we need to do that with everything.
No, I don't think it's feasible for everything, but
I could just send you a draft of the minutes when I send them to Davey. How would that be?
that's fine. That's fine. Sometimes it's just easier to just read them right out of the email versus as attachments.
I'm happy to do that. So,
JW, I'm sorry.
yeah.
JW, I just sent.
So I'll just send them to you. Go ahead. Go ahead, Carolyn.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say that that's what I'll send them to you in the email from now on.
Thank you.
JW, we just sent out the Education and Outreach Committee minutes. Do you want to do the same that way?
If at all possible, I would. Appreciate it.
What you do? Okay, we'll do. I'll resend to you.
Okay, so moving down toward old business, and thanks for that request, JW. And just, yeah, and this goes for everyone, of course, just for accommodations and making things accessible, just let us know and hold us accountable to those things too. We'll try and do the best that we can in terms of getting things out in the right way. For the old business, a lot of the ADA 30th year anniversary events and Disability Awareness Month, and just so many things ended up getting canceled because of COVID-19. I think we're running a little short on time, actually, and I want to respect everyone's time. I think we have another 15 minutes. I would like to just kind of table the discussion on Haven Girma and Temple Grandin as well. But in committees, especially in the education outreach committees, kind of maybe think of some other ways to promote the ADA 30th year anniversary through social media and other methods, whether that be print or social media.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, I think, you know, let me ask a question here. Who all has seen the movie Crip Camp on Netflix?
What's it called again?
Crip Camp?
No.
Okay. Yeah, it's basically about Judy Heumann, who is one of the leaders of the disability rights movement. It kind of focuses on this group of people that all went to camp for teenagers in New York, and then kind of follows her to the Berkeley Center for Independent Living movement, and then from that to the Rehab Act of 1973. I do 73, is that right, Diane?
Right, that's right.
Okay, so, and just like what kind of political and pressure had to be put on people to do that. And yeah, I just thought it was really good. And I think like putting information like that out could be like really beneficial to the community. So I'd encourage that committee to look into how we can promote things that show disability and disability justice in a good light.
Which committee are you saying should do that?
Education, outreach, communication.
Okay, so any committee, encourage.
Yeah, and I think especially with you know, with advocacy, communications, and education outreach, I could see those all kind of fitting together really well.
Davey, can you put something on an email just to tell us about that Netflix thing you were talking about?
Yeah, I'd love to.
Access it or something.
Yeah, I can definitely do that. Let me look back at the agenda here. So I want to talk a little bit about committee meetings and how to do this during this time. One thing that we'll definitely be looking to do is for the committee chairs of each of the committees to really work towards having some just regular online meetings. And I know Scott Thompson and Ryan through the city are more than happy to kind of help with the technical aspect of that and putting that together, because we still have to meet sunshine criteria and everything. That's basically what I wanted to say about that. Does anyone else from executive committee have anything to add to that? Are any questions from commission members?
No, I just know that serving on other groups, those sunshine laws are pretty tight. So you got to be really careful with them.
Yeah, absolutely. So we want to make sure we're not having any secret meetings or anything like that. So we have to, of course, publicize when we're going to do it. We can do that through the city, social media presence and through the city website, through newspapers. And as a quick example, in the accessibility committee, and this is something that Rob Dulac has really helped put together, but we're going to set up a video conference in May 14th for a remote walk and roll assessment of State Street and Washington Street. As that streetscaping project happens, we of course don't all want to go there. We aren't really able to do that, but if Rob's able to go and take his cell phone and do a Zoom call with all of us, and we want to invite additional people, like we'd like to invite UJW, for instance, so that we can.
I think I already have been, so it's good.
Okay, great. Thank you.
I think, Davey, weren't we going to try that in 2 steps? One, to do like a virtual discussion, and then follow up one, Rob at the site or somebody at the site. I think we were going to do 2. The one in May was all together on the computer, and then the one in June was more specific to that location.
That's correct, and thanks for that clarification.
I need to meet with advocacy committee to get them rolling.
That sounds great. So Noah's offered to kind of help advocacy get going. We haven't really had like a full advocacy committee. It's in our bylaws to do so, but we just haven't had the membership to do that. So now that we have more membership, and I can do some more outreach through phone calls and emails for people who weren't able to make it tonight or maybe had trouble with access. So just to stream back into the committee reports, for other than considering some potential new members, I wanted to give a quick update on the OSILC. It's been really a dream of a lot of people on this commission to have a Center for Independent Living located in Athens. And I was appointed back in December, I believe, to be on the state board for the Ohio State Independent Living Council. So there's centers for independent living in a lot of urban areas, but not in rural areas. So I sent out some notes from our 3-year plan, and the parts that are highlighted are things that I've been able to get the committee to add on to the 3-year plan, so that hopefully, like year 1, we'll do a needs assessment. Year 2, look for some funding. Year 3, maybe be able to open a satellite site. If year 3 or 4, that's kind of the general plan, and something that I feel strongly about. That's why I accepted the nomination for that position. And they seem willing to do it, but still, there's a lot of the bigger, the CILs in the urban areas don't want to lose funding because they're barely making it as it is. So strategizing and finding ways to get some additional funding will hopefully help.
There's that fundraising thing again.
And it has worked. Like the Centers for Independent Living in the state of Ohio were appropriated an additional $350,000 this past year in the budget. Again, that could look different now, but that really helped to close to fully fund everyone. So now any additional funding could start to go towards opening up some rural sites. And I want to make sure we're first in line down here because we don't have any coverage in southeastern Ohio.
That's great.
Any questions on that?
Do you need what? I guess as it goes along, if you need help from the commission, you would just let us know.
Right. What we'll need once we get closer to May and June is probably I'll send out some information about making some public comments so that we have a barrage of public comments towards this, especially if it's looking like it's going to be hard to do. We may not need a ton of public comments, but if we do, that would be a big help. So moving into the Accessibility and Mobility Committee, we have been
Maybe
meeting
you want to
regularly.
talk about the 3 new members? Or the new
What did you
members,
think of?
the new members on the agenda?
Yeah, oh, go ahead. What did you want to say?
Well, at our executive committee meeting, we talked about possible having 3 new members. And I suggested Claire, and I think you suggested Dale and Billy Peacock. And so I thought I had sent that email to the mayor. I wasn't sure, so I just sent it again because it was right at the start of all this. Everything started closing down. So we'll see what he says.
Yeah, we want to start getting some of those people involved. It might be a little hard just because of technology reasons and such, but I think there's definitely some ways to get people involved even through video conferencing or teleconferencing. Thank you, Carolyn. Yeah. And people that we're thinking of asking the mayor to add would add either some new and diverse disability perspectives or some new and diverse skills in video or technology or that kind of thing, or both. So the Accessibility and Mobility Committee, like I said, we've been meeting regularly with city planners and engineers and code enforcement. We met with David Riggs back in March. And gosh, that was a long time ago. It seems like a year ago at this point. But we had a really productive meeting about, we talked about criteria for things going, oh gosh, I sent it out in the notes, I'm pretty sure, but it's just really interesting, like why, remodels under a certain square footage aren't going to code enforcement and what code enforcement's stance is. There's very little in ADA that they do. So we were talking about working together collaboratively to try and help target some spaces to try and help them become more accessible and meet ADA guidelines at least. NOAA continues to work on going above and beyond that. Yeah, we've had some really good meetings, and anyone who wants to join us, feel free to do so. Anything else, Diane or Noah?
I couldn't make that meeting, but in some of the follow-ups, I would be interested in understanding a little more who the audience was for some of the things that you were writing. So maybe we can connect later on that. And Noah too, because you guys probably had an idea of what you had in mind.
Okay, great. And then if we could move down to education.
Yeah, I thought that meeting went really good.
Yeah, it sounded like it was a good one.
Yeah, I thought I learned probably the most that I've learned in terms of like meeting with the city official about how things work. And he provided us with like an ADA guide for small businesses. What's needed, it's like a 1-page sheet, but also a 5-page sheet, which really just succinctly answers questions, which is something we struggle with because you go into a place and if you know the ADA well, you can pick out like 100 things that could be improved. But if we just focus like on these 5 areas, the parking, the entrance, the restrooms, the service, and the walkways, then, you know, I think we might have some more success.
Right, right. And not
Um,
overwhelm people.
Yeah, and us. That's another
That's
key.
right, right, right.
I get overwhelmed easily. Um, let's move down to education and events.
Outreach.
I don't, why can't I get this saved correctly?
You can.
Education and outreach.
Because they do events,
Yeah, that's true.
that's why.
Well, we sent out minutes today. Everything is on hold with the oral history, even though we had some time scheduled for Barry and Dr. Herman to talk with Claire. So that's on hold. We haven't done anything with the resolution unless JW has some updates on that. We talked today back and forth a little bit, Barry and me, about our next meeting, whether it's going to be, I sent her a note, maybe it's going to be supposed to be May, I think. So we might put it to July. We're not sure yet. But we'll do the same as everyone else is doing virtually. And we haven't done anything with letters to the editor. I think we need to coordinate with the communications committee on that one.
Man, that was such a great meeting, but it seems so long ago now.
I know.
Good Lord.
Do you have any other notes from the Education and Outreach Committee?
No?
If not, we can move down to announcements. Are there any announcements currently? I don't really have anything.
I don't know if it's an announcement, but whenever this all clears out and we can get together, I would suggest we do something, you know, informally. Just come together for a time of fellowship, not business.
Yeah.
Just get together and meet each other, and maybe have a bite to eat somewhere. I think that'd be a good thing to do.
JW, you know what I miss most right now is getting my Roadhouse steak.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Wherever we go, I don't care where it is, whether it's Roadhouse or whether we have a potluck. I agree totally with you.
Right.
The Roadhouse sounds great, and anywhere from like 2 months to a year, who knows?
Right.
Okay, and I'd suggest that the people on those committees, I think everyone knows their committee assignments. I don't think we have everyone who is assigned to those committees on this call, obviously, in this video chat. So I would just leave it up to the chairs and to try and start setting those up and include everyone on those. Okay, do we have a motion to adjourn? I see a motion from Noah. Do we have a second from Carolyn? All in favor?
Yeah.
All right, I think it's unanimous. And again, just thank you everyone for participating. And I think everyone here is involved in you know, helping others in some way. And I just really appreciate all that you're doing, and you know, to you know, give people hope right now. It's a really, really difficult time, and just, you know, I want to thank you for all that you're doing, and just ask that you continue to do that for everyone. So thank you very much.
Thank you as well, David.
Yes.
Yes, indeed. Thank you.
All right.
Everybody have a good evening.